This is what I call an open letter to all Christians, not just a particular person, but to Christianity in general. And I'm just going to read this letter to you because it's pretty brief, not a lot to it, but I think it has an important message. You have to read Romans chapter 1, verses 21 to 28. In the King James version, in the King James version of the Bible, it reads, "For although they knew God, they did not honor him as God, nor give thanks to him, but became futile in their thinking, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Claiming to be wise, they became fools, and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for images resembling mortal man, and birds and animals and reptiles. Therefore God gave them up in the lust of their own hearts to impurity, to the dishonoring their bodies among themselves, because they exchanged the truth about God for a lie." Can I say that one again? Because they exchanged the truth of God for a lie, and worshipped and served the creature rather than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this reason God gave them up to dishonorable passions. For the women exchanged natural relations for those that are contrary to nature. And the men likewise gave up natural relations with women who were consumed with passion for one another, men committing shameless acts with men, and receiving in themselves the due penalty for their error. And since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to do a debased mind, to do what not ought to be done. Now, what I want to say, let me finish reading the letter. It's really brief. I travel all over our great country in my secular job, literally coast to coast. And I can tell you that our country is not simply flirting with judgment. We are currently under it. Please notice that in the verse 26, it says, "For this reason God gave them up." And what was the reason? Verse 21 begins that explanation. "Although they knew God, they did not honor him as God or give thanks to him." So what's the result of not giving honor to God? The result is his judgment. But what's the result of that judgment? But now what is the result of that judgment? The sins listed in verses 26 to 32. So what's my point? Many Christians think that such rampant and open flaunting of sin in our society, such as those mentioned in verses 26 to 32, will cause the judgment of God upon our great nation. But I tell you, it is actually a result of him giving us over already. It is the judgment itself. The rampant sin and open debauchery in our nation are not going to cause judgment upon our nation. It is the greatest sign that we're already under God's judgment. It is simply the result of God's judgment. It's my firm belief that we're much farther down this path of judgment than most Christians realize. It's high time that we beg God for his forgiveness and become actively involved in turning our nation around. It's my conviction that the message of the gospel, its love, its forgiveness, and restoration of man to God, is the only answer for our generation. Our fear and neglect of sharing this message, coupled with our political laziness, has caused the mess that we have today. Please join me in prayer and sincere humility before God, our faces to the ground in shame, and intercede for our nation and beg God to restore it. Not for us only, but for our children, grandchildren, and all those who desperately need to hear the gospel. Let's quit sitting back and thinking someone else will do it and get involved. And that ultimately is the problem. We're all sitting around thinking someone else is going to do this, someone else is going to get the job done, and we just sit around and do what we want to and play video games all night and have our fun, and we just do what we want to do, basically. Well, friends, that's not Christianity. And Romans 1 is not teaching that these things will bring judgment. These sins are a sign that God has already turned us over, and this is the judgment. These sins are simply a result that God has let go. And is it too late? No, I think God can certainly, all-powerful being, the eternal creator of the universe, could turn it around. But as Christians, we're just going to have to get serious. We're going to have to turn this thing around. We're going to have to get real. 12 men turned the world upside down. We only need a handful of people listening to this video to actually decide that they're going to live for God and be real about it. And this will change the nation for the good. Okay? Souls are at stake. So I hope someone will take this to heart and understand where we're at in our nation right now, and that it's a lot worse than we realize, most of us. I truly believe that. So please join me in prayer about our nation.